Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the granting of a startup fund for the Forget project. For the national scene, COVID-19 death toll continues in Brazil with over 66,000 deaths in March. Welcome to our newsroom, and I will start this news by giving you a brief overview on the campaign for the presidential elections that is underway in our country. Two candidates are competing, namely the candidates of UMP Ismail Omar Gele and the independent candidate Zakaria Ismail Farah. And we have Gasira Ali in the other side. Hello, Gasira.
And good evening. 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 So, in overall, around in all the region, the country, the campaign for the presidential election that will take place on April 9 continues, and the team of the UMP are present in all the four corners of the country, conduct a proximity campaign in favor of their candidate and the outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, namely in the white city of Tejora, Balho locality, Alaylu for the region of Obokh, and Asaela for the region of Dikhil, Ali Ade for the region of Ali Sabih. And concerning the independent candidate Zakaria Ismail Farah, we will see together in the region of Arta his campaign.
We will come back after this news for you. And the President of the Republic pays tribute to the memory of the late Muhammad Adoita Yusuf. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gelle, paid a vibrant tribute to the memory of the late Muhammad Adoita Yusuf, one of the leading figures of the national political landscape and a personality appreciated by his compatriot who died yesterday in Djibouti. In his tribute, President Gelle paid tribute to the memory of a valiant patriot who significantly took part in the mobilizations for our national independence. He then praised the valuable contribution that the late former political leaders had made to the restorations of our national harmony in the 1990s during the short-lived discord experienced by our countries. The late Muhammad Adoita was the hallmark of a virtuous politician who always knew how to place the general interest above partisan interest, said the head of state. The greatness of souls and that characterized him was commensurate with the modesty he willingly displayed despite his aura and his central place in our national political arena. He continued, may God welcome him into his eternal paradise. The President of the Republic also implored, expressing his sincere condolence to the family and friend of the deceased Member of Parliament who joined the hemicycles at the extensions of the peace agreement of Ab'a between the Djibouti government and the fruit of which he was one of the main leaders. The late Muhammad Adoita Yusuf died yesterday in Djibouti. He leaves behind him a large family consisting of a wife and 5 children. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The ulema response to Al-Shabaab following the hollow allegations, false accusations, and threats made by a member of the Al-Shabaab against our countries. The League of Ulema of Djibouti held today a meeting during which is strongly denounced these baseless allegations. The meeting was chaired by Sheikh Abdurrahman Muhammad Ali, known as Shamsuddin, in the presence of the Executive Secretary of the High Islamic Council, Sheikh Ukiya Qawrah Fattah, as well as Director of Muslim Affairs Offices and the Ministry in the regions. Some members of the League of Ulema of Djibouti During this meeting, the League of Ulama of Djibouti confirmed its categorical rejections of these accusations, stressing that Djiboutians are a Muslim people who love their religion and adore the tolerance. They also warned against being drawn into the extremist ideas that have nothing to do with Islam, which calls for peace and social coexistence. The ulama stressed the prohibitions of illegal killing of Muslims and targeting mosques which extremist movements carry out. Under the high patronage of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, ADDS, in close collaboration with the Center for Entrepreneurship, organized a ceremony to award the first startup fund for young entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship Center organized a ceremony to deliver the first startup fund for young entrepreneurs, designed to improve the accessibility of youth and women to income generations and employment opportunity. The project training for the youth for the initiative of entrepreneurship Forges project is gradually getting underway. Its mission is to professionally integrate a significant number of unemployed youth through entrepreneurship. This process remains essential insofar as it allows the establishment of group of young people brought to this process remains essential insofar as it allows the establishment of group of young people brought to agree and coexist whose outcomes of a common project which is that of the creation and the perpetuation of an income generating activity. Income generating activity, it is in this sense that was held today in the sports complex of the Cité Nassif, the granting of fund, the start of the Forget project use. The ceremony was also attended by the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, the Director of the EOJ Foundation, the Director of the Djiboutian Social Agency, the representative of the saving banks, and others. A fund of 2,400,000 has been deblocked by the Center of Leadership and Entrepreneurship for these young people. The chairman of the Ports and Free Zone Authority, Abubakar Umar Haddi, made an inspection visit this morning to the construction sites of a large international hotel that will be built as part of the redevelopment project of the old port. The project, coupled with an exhibition center, will be inaugurated in May and will serve as a pilot phase to the regeneration project at the historic port. The hotel will have a total of 120 rooms, including several suites and single rooms, and will boost the capacity of the hotel infrastructure in the country. The president of the Port and Free Zone Authority, Abubakar Umar Haddi, gave a brief intervention to RTD in which he explained the importance of the project for the socio-economic development of the country and the speed of execution as well as the originality of the structure. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohammed, proceeded this Thursday, April 1, 2021, to the inauguration ceremony of a textile manufacturing workshop, Master Tailor, at Camp Monjontin. This workshop is intended for the manufacture of military dress. On his arrival at Camp Monjontin, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed, was welcomed by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. The ceremony was also attended by General Tahiru Ali Mohammed, the Chief of the Defense Staff, and small delegations of senior officers of the General Staff of the Armed Forces. As a reminder, Camp Monjontin was handed over to the Djiboutian Armed Forces by French forces in to 2012, hosting the garrison majors in charges of respect, control, and good maintenance of the state of military cities. This camp also serves as a rear basis for the regiment of the interior regions. It also includes other offices such as the premises of the clothing stores of the reserve command and a bakery being upgraded. The aim of this textile manufacturing workshop is to make military uniforms in order to achieve a certain autonomy in the file of clothing for our soldiers wherever they are. In his speech, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim first of all thanked the Minister of Defense in charge of relation with Parliament for having honored with his presence to preside over this ceremony. After a brief explanation of the Monjontil site, General Zakaria underlined that the textile manufacturing workshop, Master Tailor, was one of the priority of the military command in order to meet the existential needs. The CMGA indicate that this workshop will make it possible to equip the soldiers in clothing in a uniform way. After the interventions of the CMGA, the Minister of Defense in charge of relation with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohammed, accompanied by the Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces, the officials present at the ceremony proceeded to the inaugurations of a textile manufacturing workshop intended for the confections of military outfits. These clothes are made by the hands of the female staff of the army, supervised by civilian experts.
sahi umandih marabitanai ni andi ebi masumutana ni andi ebi masumutana tangile sibak awinno harada gire daket manadai abedi ambalagak boinak kalkala hinnak fanakane kata kalkala hinnak fanakane kata tangile sibak awinno harada gire daket manadai abedi ambalagak boinak kalkala hinnak fanakane kata kalkala hinnak fanakane kata.
On the sidelines of this ceremony, Hassan Omar Mohammed, Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, inaugurated the renovated premises of the Command of Signals, Camtrons. It is classrooms with a capacity of 60 trainees, a meeting room and a warehouse for storing materials. Prior to this, Commander Ziad Abdullahi Hussein, commander of the IDF Signals, gave a brief presentation of the activity of his department. He was able to explain the scope of the new digital telephone networks of the Djiboutian Armed Forces set up in January 2020. This network allows the ADF to secure all their communication through a mesh while reducing allows to connect all the regiments of the ADF deployed through the territory of the Republic while delivering a timely communication at the end of the Hassan Omar Mohammed, the Minister of Defense in charge with the Parliament, in charge with the relation with Parliament, accompanied by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, was able to see the equipment acquired to build this network. And for the international scene, Brazil broke its record for daily deaths from the coronavirus on Wednesday. March was the deadliest month in the country since the pandemic began, and there is no indications that April will not be even worse as the vaccination campaign fails to move forward and the far-right president continues to contradict health orders. March was by far the worst month for Brazil in the grips of an out of the controlled coronavirus epidemic that has blown all the countries with more than 66,000 deaths, twice as many as the worst month so far, July 2020. A total of 66,573 people have succumbed to COVID-19, 102% more than the 32,881 victims in July last year in the large Latin American country, according to data released in the evening of Wednesday, March 31, by the Ministry of Health. And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Let's continue with Kasira Ali for the presidential election news.